No one expects the moment when the body begins to falter. One day, the erection appears strong and automatic, just as it always has. The next, suddenly, it fades too quickly, almost without warning. It is in that moment that many men discover, in the most uncomfortable way possible, that intimate confidence can be fragile. The truth is that 99% of older men are unaware of one simple detail. There is a 5-minute home test capable of revealing whether the erection is truly healthy or if there are already signs that something more serious is happening. It is not a myth, not a trick, not a miraculous promise. It is a practical, straightforward method that shows whether the problem lies only in anxiety and stress, or if the cause is physical and demands more attention. Think of it as turning on a flashlight inside a dark tunnel. Most men keep walking without seeing, stumbling, trying to guess where the obstacle is. But this test works like a beam of light that clearly shows the path, without the need for equipment, long appointments, or embarrassing exams. And this is where the central question arises. Is the difficulty in maintaining a firm erection only temporary, or is it the first sign that circulation, hormones, or even the penile tissue are asking for help? In 5 minutes, you can have the answer that will change the way you view your own vitality. Before continuing, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That ensures you won't miss any essential content for regaining firmness and confidence. Now tell me, if you had to choose, would you rather discover that your problem lies in the mind or that its root is in the body? Write one of these 2 words in the comments, mind or body. An erection does not begin in the penis, it begins in the brain. Imagine a full orchestra filled with instruments. The penis is only the solo violin, but the one who decides when the music starts is the conductor. That conductor is the brain, sending electrical signals and releasing chemical substances that transform desire into physical reality. When everything works well, the symphony is perfect. The brain sends the commands, the blood vessels dilate, the blood flows toward the penis, and rigidity appears almost effortlessly. But if the conductor gets distracted or loses the beat, the music falls out of tune. That is what happens when the mind is too preoccupied with worries, fear of failure, or performance anxiety. Instead of releasing signals of pleasure, the brain locks into danger alerts. The result is a body ready to fight or flee, but unable to sustain a firm erection. Think of an athlete walking onto the field for a final. He has trained, he knows what to do, but nervousness steals his concentration. Every step feels heavy, every move seems complicated. Erections work the same way. When the mind is in panic, the body does not obey, and that is why so many men are confused. They believe the problem is in the penis, when in reality, the conductor is the one losing rhythm. Without the brain leading the orchestra, no concert is possible. If you have already noticed how stress can interfere with your intimate performance, you have taken the first step toward regaining control. The mind can be an enemy, but it can also become an ally. And the good news is that there are simple ways to re-educate this invisible conductor, so it can once again guide the body with confidence. Before moving on, do something important. Click the like button now. That quick gesture helps more men discover they are not alone in this struggle and increases the reach of information that can transform lives. An erection may seem like a simple reflex, but in reality, it depends on a very specific traffic, blood. Picture a one-way road that must remain clear so the flow can reach its destination. The penis is that destination, and each artery functions as a lane carrying the fuel of vitality. When the lanes are clear, the journey is fast, smooth, and efficient. The blood fills the corpora cavernosa, like reservoirs ready to hold pressure. Rigidity happens because there is no room for retreat. Blood flows in, but does not escape. It is pure engineering, designed by the body. The problem begins when the road becomes blocked. Fat deposits on vessel walls act like debris. High blood pressure turns the lanes into a rough, uneven road that hinders passage. Diabetes, in turn, corrodes the pavement like acid rain, slowly damaging the structures. The result is inevitable. The flow no longer arrives with the same force, and the erection loses intensity. This detail is so important that many doctors see erectile dysfunction as one of the first signs of cardiovascular disease. The body gives the warning here, even before a heart attack or stroke appears. The penis, in this sense, works like a radar. It shows that something in the circulatory system is no longer responding as it should. Visualize it this way. A river that once ran freely down the mountain now encounters rocks, branches, and mud in its path. The current still exists, but it has lost its speed and strength. The penis needs a roaring river, not a trickle of intermittent water. This one-way road explains why a simple home test can be so revealing. If the erection appears quickly and firmly, it is a sign that the lanes are still in good condition. But if the flow does not arrive, even without emotional pressure involved, the answer lies in circulation, and it should never be ignored. If circulation is the road that carries the fuel, testosterone is the fuel itself. Without it, even the most sophisticated engine loses power. This hormone, produced mainly in the testicles, is not only responsible for sexual desire, it also regulates energy, vitality, and even the ability to maintain a firm erection. Testosterone works like an internal battery. When a man is young, that battery is full, ready to release energy at any moment. That is why, in youth, the body reacts quickly, almost automatically, without much effort. But over time, the charge diminishes. Not all at once, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a phone you think is at 80%, but suddenly drops to 20% without warning. This natural process of hormonal decline usually begins after the age of 40 and intensifies with maturity. The signs do not appear only in the bedroom. They spread: lack of energy for simple activities, constant discouragement, difficulty gaining muscle mass, and the accumulation of abdominal fat. All of this goes hand in hand, but the most sensitive point for many men is the direct impact on their erections. Picture a clock marking the hours, except this clock does not measure time. It measures vitality. Each tick of the hands symbolizes a gradual reduction in testosterone levels, and the more the hands advance, the slower and weaker the sexual response becomes. It's like trying to light a lamp with a drained battery. It may still glow faintly, but never with the same brightness as before. That is why, in many cases, the loss of firmness is not only linked to circulation or stress. It is also the result of this internal hormonal clock, which keeps ticking even when a man chooses to ignore its signals. Recognizing this connection is essential, because without understanding the battery that powers the body, any attempt to recover erection will always remain incomplete. So far, we've spoken about circulation, hormones, and the mind as the conductor. But the big question remains: how can you practically find out if your erection is truly healthy, or if there is already a hidden obstacle? The answer lies in a simple home test that takes just 5 minutes and can reveal the truth in a surprising way. This test doesn't require equipment, medical exams, or medication. It only depends on attention and honesty with your own body. The logic is clear. Observe how the body reacts in an environment without external pressures. The first step is to create a calm space. No interruptions, no demands. A quiet environment without distractions already prepares the brain to switch off its stress alarms. In this setting, the body can respond to desire naturally without the shadow of performance anxiety. The stimulus is simple. It can be an intimate memory, a fantasy, or even something visual that sparks interest. The goal is not to force anything, but to let arousal appear on its own. This is where observation begins. Does the penis harden quickly and stay firm? Or does the erection appear weak, hesitant, and fade quickly? This contrast is revealing. If the erection happens consistently in this protected setting, it is a sign that the physical part is working well, and the difficulty may be tied to the mind, anxiety, insecurity, too much pressure. But if even in calm conditions the firmness doesn't appear or fades in moments, the body is pointing to something physical. Circulation problems, hormonal decline, or changes in erectile tissues. In just 5 minutes, this home test becomes a faithful mirror. It shows whether the obstacle lies in the conductor, who isn't guiding properly, or in the road, which isn't allowing the flow to pass. The result may not provide an immediate solution, but it brings clarity. And clarity is always the first step to regaining control of your intimate life. What makes this test so valuable is not the act itself, but the reading of the signs your body delivers. It's like opening a sealed envelope and discovering whether the message inside is a warning or just a reminder. When an erection arises firm, in a calm environment and without pressure, the body is saying, "The machine works, but the mind is interfering with the commands." In this case, the problem is not the physical structure, but the mental noise, anxiety, fear of disappointing, insecurity. All these factors act like interference on a radio frequency. The signal exists, but it arrives distorted. Now, if the opposite happens, if the erection is delayed, doesn't hold, or doesn't even appear under ideal conditions, the message is different. The body is shouting that there is a physical obstacle, compromised circulation, declining hormones, weakened tissues. No matter how many times the brain sends the signal, the blood doesn't arrive with enough force to transform intention into firmness. There is also a third situation, when the response varies from one day to another, sometimes strong, sometimes unstable. This is like an electrical system with an intermittent fault. At times the energy flows, at others the wire seems broken. In this case, both the mind and the body are involved, creating a sort of tug-of-war that confuses the man even more. This process of interpretation is fundamental because it prevents illusions. Many believe that occasional failure is just a part of aging, when in reality it could be the first sign of a silent illness. Others assume the problem is physical, when in fact the root lies in the weight of daily stress. The home test does not replace a medical diagnosis, but it works like a compass. It doesn't show every detail of the map, but it clearly points out the direction you need to look. And for a man who wants to regain confidence and vitality, that clarity is more powerful than any guesswork. The truth is that the loss of firmness never happens suddenly. It builds up slowly, like a wall cracking in silence until someone notices the fissure. But cracks can be repaired. The human body has an impressive capacity for recovery, as long as it receives the right stimuli. When the cause lies in circulation, small habit changes work like maintenance jobs. Walking every day, replacing ultra-processed foods with meals rich in fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats, cutting down on excess alcohol. Each choice strengthens the arteries, restoring fluidity to the blood and vigor to the erection. When the obstacle lies in the hormonal clock, there are ways to recharge the internal battery. Quality sleep, regular strength training, and even proper sun exposure help maintain more balanced testosterone levels. These are simple adjustments, but they make a real difference in sexual response. And when the root lies in the invisible conductor, the brain, the path is different. Learning to relax, reducing the weight of anxiety, rediscovering pleasure in the moment without the pressure to perform. The mind can be trained, and once it becomes an ally, the body naturally follows. The point is that none of these solutions need to be radical. It is a process of reconstruction, like restoring an old house, brick by brick, until the structure is once again solid and reliable. Erections follow the same logic. It isn't magic, it's consistency. If you've made it this far, it means you are committed to your intimate health. And I want to invite you to continue this journey. Subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss the upcoming videos, where I'll share more practical, straightforward strategies to restore your confidence. Also, make sure to like this video. That way, it reaches more men who need this information. And don't forget to check out the other content on the channel, which can complement everything you've learned today. See you in the next video. Until then.